Viewers, let me begin by posing a series of questions tonight on the show. Were all those gonzo-style news reports by internet influencers, cabal of so-called independent journalists and YouTubers about Modi's failings ahead of the Lok Sabha 2024 election curated disinformation? Were they all propaganda? In other words, was the Lok Sabha 2024 election sabotaged by an ecosystem of foreign-funded Indian influencers who, viewers, pretended to be independent but were actually allied with certain political forces in the country that were inimical to the BJP? Did sold-out influencers, a cabal of fifth columnists, undermine the constitutional right of Indian voters to make an informed and free decision when voting by misleading them with a paid-for narrative? Yes, viewers, were certain number of voters tricked into thinking that their choice was right because the facts as narrated to them by a certain ecosystem validated that choice? Viewers, was this ecosystem working with the very politicians who never tire of telling us that they are the saviors of the constitution and democracy in India? The answer to these questions is looking very likely to be a resounding yes, viewers. Viewers, we would perhaps have not known this. We would not known this for sure had US President Donald Trump not said as much. He's the one who not only posed the question but answered it in the affirmative, viewers. Speaking to a large audience, Trump spoke about regime change in India ahead of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, a systematic campaign launched by an ecosystem funded by the US deep state to get someone else elected other than Modi. Someone else were the words that Trump used. Now listen to Trump, who called this link, this bridge, this nexus, call it what you want to, quote, a total breakthrough, unquote. Listen and viewers.
What do we need to spend $21 million for voter turnout in India? Well, $21 million, I guess they were trying to get somebody else elected. Well, we ought to tell the Indian government this is a total breakthrough.
Viewers, you heard that? He said, I guess they were trying to get somebody else elected. He's referring to his own previous American government, led by his predecessor, Joe Biden, the US deep state, and God alone knows who else, viewers. Trump is outing this conspiracy. And he goes on to say, we have got to tell the Indian government, this is a total breakthrough, unquote. This is Donald Trump, viewers, US president, who clearly is sick and tired of the deep state in America and its skullduggery. Well, viewers, as I told you, we would never have known the answers to the questions that I posed to you right at the top of the show had Trump not spoken to this large audience, spoken about regime change in India ahead of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, referring to a systematic campaign by an ecosystem funded by the US deep state to get someone else elected other than Modi. Now, viewers, Trump also plans to tell the Modi government. Trump's remarks add weight to Prime Minister Modi's own warnings about foreign interference in India's poll process aimed at manipulating voters to make erroneous choices and elect a government that would have been inherently compromised and indebted to their foreign patrons looking to benefit from political instability in India. No one, viewers, least of all the deep state in America or any of other India's competitors who pretend to be friends, really want a strong India. No one wants another competitor on the world stage, viewers, let me tell you that. But this is what Prime Minister Modi had talked about. He knew it. Perhaps the intelligence agencies in India tipped him off. Listen to this, viewers.
आजकल देश दुनिया के बड़े बड़े ताकतवर लोग मोदी को हटाने के लिए एकजुट हो गए हैं, लेकिन ये नारी शक्ति का आशीर्वाद है, मातृशक्ति का आशीर्वाद है, आपका सुरक्षा कवच है कि मोदी हर चुनौती से टकराते हुए चलता जा रहा है।
आज जब भारत तेजी से आगे बढ़ रहा है तो कुछ देशों को, कुछ संस्थाओं को ये पसंद नहीं आता है। बहुत से लोग हैं वो यही चाहते हैं कि भारत कमजोर हो, सरकार कमजोर हो, तो फिर खुद को जो फायदा उठाना है वो बड़ी आसानी से उठा सकते हैं।
कांग्रेस वालों का और दुनिया में बैठी कुछ ताकतों का माथा गर्म हो जाता है। अगर भारत शक्तिशाली हो गया तो कुछ ताकतों का खेल ही बिगड़ जाएगा।
Viewers, he elaborated on this between the 20th of April 2024 right up till the 6th of May 2024. Not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 times in 4 different rallies, in 4 different speeches. So he was on to something. He knew something was afoot, viewers. Of course, the Congress has been very quick to rubbish the claims being made by President Donald Trump. Jairam Ramesh has come out and said very clearly that USAID is very much in the news these days. It was set up in November 3, 1961. Claims being made by the US President, typically nonsensical to say the least. Viewers, this is Jairam Ramesh saying that Trump is talking rubbish. As if Jairam Ramesh is someone who is the fount of all knowledge. I don't know how he has jumped to this conclusion. But the Congress may have a hard time denying that their number one campaigner was making appeals to foreign powers to meddle in India's internal affairs. Optics do matter. And listen to this. This is Rahul Gandhi, viewers.
So the surprising thing is that the so-called defenders of democracy, which are the United States, European countries, seem to just be oblivious that a huge chunk of the democratic model has come undone, right? Which is a real problem. With regards to, and frankly, the opposition is fighting that battle, right? And it's not just an Indian battle. It's actually a much more important battle.
It's a much more important battle, he says. It's a much more important battle, viewers, with such certainty. Highly placed sources in the NDA government have told CNN News18 that after the news about cash transfer to an ecosystem of certain Indian news vendors, most of them have gone offline mysteriously, viewers. This is what we are being told. Government is also putting out now details of how this money made its way into the hands of certain influencers. The Indian government's decision to inquire into the alleged nexus raises some crucial questions which we will pose now to our guests. Let's open this up, viewers. Let's not waste too much time. Does Trump's revelations vindicate Prime Minister Modi's claim that an ecosystem was manipulating voter preference to force regime change? How do we argue against this? Mr. Kidwai, let me ask you, sir, I remember you being here in studios during big debates on the outcome of the election, and you were saying, oh, this is anti-incumbency catching up with Mr. Modi. He fell about, 33 seats short at the end. But we all know that a whole bite, so-called soundbite of Mr. Amit Shah was twisted, manipulated, faked to influence a certain group of people. We know that, sir. The government tried very hard to control the damage. We also know that there were certain reports that were made that were branded fake by the PIB. Now, I'm asking you, I'm not saying anything. I'm just going by what Trump is saying. Trump is saying there was an attempted regime change. This vindicates the Prime Minister. So, a whole group, a whole ecosystem has cheated, has perpetrated a fraud on Indian voters by influencing them wrongly. This is a big crime.
So, Rahul, in democracy, free and fair election by every possible way is a very important, I would say, edifice, a basis on which democracy functions and democracy should function. If there was any attempt to manipulate the mandate, it's a serious crime. And I think Mr. Jairam Ramesh is within his rights to demand a white paper. I would go a step further to say there should be a kind of, commission of inquiry, or there should be a thorough investigation by various agencies to probe these allegations that have come to the light. And now when we hear about the USAID program, as we understand, is a bilateral program. There are a lot of successive governments from 1960s have participated in it, and we have a lot of photographs and comments by
between government to government. No, hang on. We have to draw a distinction between government to government, bilateral cooperation, and what comes through the back door.
Mr.
One second, Mr.
I think you allow me to speak, or you speak.
No, I just want to ask you, because you're mixing up events here. We are not mixing up.
You will get your chance to speak. Let me explain.
Okay.
And in any case, if there is any foreign funding, and all my fellow panelists are very, they're very well aware. They know things. If there is any foreign funding coming from the USAID, then there is a proper mechanism, and there are agencies, there are checks and balances in our democracy, in our system. Now, if any attempt
checks
has been
and balances,
if it has been breached, absolutely.
Okay.
There is a Home Ministry, there is ED, there are a lot of agencies which monitor, any foreign funding that comes to India, to individuals, to NGOs, to institutions, to state governments, to political parties, to anybody. All these things, it cannot be that,
So the Prime Minister was making reference, but what did the Congress party say?
What is the point of reference? I'm saying
he made not once, he made 4 or 5 references. He gave interviews to news channels, and you know what was said by the Congress party? Look at the Prime Minister is inventing stories, fake stories about the foreign hand.
Mr. Rahul Shivshankar, Prime Minister is a politician. He's entitled to say as much as you are entitled to interpret it in whichever way. As a citizen of this country, I would want.
What is the point you're making? Because you see, Mr. Kidwai,
to investigate.
You and many others were saying that going into the election, the opposition did not get a free and fair opportunity. Here it assumes. No,
you're not letting me speak. You're not letting me finish.
He won't
I
let
do
you
not
speak.
know. That's a very uncharacteristic belligerence that I'm seeing. What is the point? I'm supporting your argument.
But I'm not understanding your point.
He won't let you speak.
These are serious allegations. They must be investigated thoroughly by competent agency, and if there are culprits, be it individuals or institutions or political parties or NGOs, they should be punished. You cannot be just making.
Okay. Now, have you made your point? Have you made your point?
Absolutely.
Okay, viewers, you see, this is one
guests,
second.
Rahul.
1 second. This is very typical.
Learn to respect your guests.
Yes. This is very typical, viewers.
Stop talking to Rashid Kidwai in such a disdainful manner. If you have invited him and asked him to speak, let him finish. He's a respected journalist just like you are. I'm noticing the way you're interrupting and humiliating him. This is not done on a national television channel. And if this continues, forget Rashid. I will leave your show. This is repugnant behavior. It's about time somebody called you out.
What?
Wow. Mr. Jha today is very offensive.
Rahul,
He's on the offensive. He's on the offensive tonight. Even before we ask him. So obviously, viewers, this is an attempt.
Man. Don't
okay, 1 second, Mr. Jha. Calm down. I'm only asking him to clarify. Is that disrespectful?
Let him clarify. Don't interrupt him.
So I did. Why don't you mind your own business? Hang on. This is a very viewers, 1 second. Look, we are now into the 10th minute into this show. This is going to be about deliberate derailment. They are not going to want to answer the questions I pose. I just put the questions out there, viewers, so that you know where I'm going with this. And I want to bring in the BJP national spokesperson. Does Trump's revelation vindicate PM's claim that an ecosystem was manipulating voter preference to force regime change? Since Trump and sovereign countries' sovereign authority has called out regime change, then we have to ask whether the Soros ecosystem was working with, and there is enough material here to suggest, with certain groups of political parties and leaders to undermine the electoral democracy of this country. Viewers, that question remains larger than life. No one will answer that question. They will abuse the person asking that question. They will shoot the messenger. They won't answer the question. Has Trump's declaration now established that it wasn't anti-incumbency, but a foreign-funded and ecosystem-amplified disinformation campaign that cost Modi a majority? Viewers, again, I'm not saying it. The BJP isn't saying it. Donald Trump is saying it. This is an American president talking about his own country's, and remember this, malevolent interference in another democracy, the world's largest democracy. What is he getting out of it, viewers? Is he getting a medal from Modi? No. Is he getting a medal from the BJP? No. What is he getting out of it? You have to look at motives, viewers. He's just sick and tired of American taxpayer money being used for malevolent means across the globe because it earns America no favors. Let me tell you that, viewers. But I'm not going to get an answer tonight on those questions. Let's talk about the other question. Shouldn't all those who have taken money from shadowy organizations linked to USAID make a voluntary disclosure? Did you hear it, viewers? No, you didn't hear anyone saying, let those people come out and put their money on the table and say, look, this is what we used it for. Give an account. But no, viewers, you will be told that the government must do all the hard work, pull out all the details. Of course it should. I'm not stopping them. But see, viewers, this is exactly the converse line they take. They want to put the onus on the government. And when the government investigates, they will say that you are intimidating journalists by looking and prying into their accounts, etc. Has Trump's confirmation, another question, exposed the doublespeak of all those who talk about democratic blacksliding in India, viewers? Of course it does. Then I'll bring in the editor of ANI, I'll bring in Dr. Ranganathan, I'll bring in the very combative Mr. Jha tonight. But before that, let me bring in the BJP national spokesperson, Gaurav Bhatia. Mr. Bhatia, how do you see this? It's Donald Trump who's come out. Obviously, the question will be asked, what are you going to do about it? How are we going to work together? That is the BJP, the NDA, and the Trump administration to bring out the facts into public domain. Because the ball has been put conveniently in your court. How do you respond to this?
So Rahul, first of all, I think the most important thing you said was in the end when you said that all of us should unite to fight these foreign powers. And it's very strange that even when the writing is on the wall, Donald Trump has now made an admission that there are foreign powers that are jeopardizing our national security and they're playing with our sovereignty. And still, the opposition can't act in a responsible manner. What is it that they are attacking? They are attacking our political stability, which is hated by these foreign powers and is also hated by the opposition parties in India. Second, they don't like the strong leadership that Narendra Modi ji is providing to India. We all know that on the global center stage, Narendra Modi ji today is the tallest leader. And Rahul Gandhi just can't accept that fact. They forget that they're Indians first and then comes other politics that they have to do. And third and most important, they can't defeat Modi ji in a fair manner on the basis of their own strength. So they need support from all these external forces, be it George Soros, as people have started calling George Soros and Gandhis as gondos. And there is a reason for that. Mani Shankar Iyer had a few years back asked for Pakistan to help the Congress to come back to power. Should we forget that Rahul Gandhi on foreign soil has made statements like democracy is dead in India and US and UK should come together and interfere in our internal polity? And here we see Congress sympathizers coming out, not even sharing the concern or the issues that we are raising or Donald Trump is pointing towards. Rather, they are indulging in petty politics. Now, Rahul, I have a very important point to make. I want to ask the Congress today, what about the MOU that they signed with the Chinese Communist Party in 2008? As an Indian citizen, I am concerned. China is a foreign power again. I don't know what the MOU states. We have been asking the Congress to reveal the details. Every citizen has the right to know. Why don't they reveal the details? Second, the Congress party is so shameless. They accepted 50 lakh donation from Zakir Naik. Zakir Naik is a proclaimed offender in India, and yet the Congress party doesn't come clean on the donation they got from Zakir Naik. And I want to ask today, how is it? This is a very important number which I am about to quote. The government during 2004 to 2013 received foreign aid worth 204 million US dollars. Modi ji came to power and it has dropped down to 1.51 million US dollars. What has changed? Does it not show that Modi ji, being a strong leader, is not available to these foreign powers? He has his own foreign policy and he will take decisions in national interest. Whereas the Congress or the UK
information that
in
has
the
been put out
past was susceptible to pressure. They could have been manipulated, and that is
Smita
why
Prakash,
they were receiving these foreign funds.
let me ask you, if someone gives somebody money, would it stand to reason they would exercise some amount of leverage over that person?
I would presume that it follows, and especially when it comes from a president of the United States, that when he says that the aid which was coming to India, the reasons were dubious, then I'm afraid, Rashid, my friend, the firewalls in our country seem to have been breached, and it wouldn't be the first time. All I would say is Mitrokhin archives. You know it, I know it.
Yeah.
This has happened before. It's not the first time that these kind of allegations have been made, and it's been there. And as a citizen of the country, I would like to know who was the recipient of this foreign aid to interfere in the Indian election. In the interest of transparency, put it out. As citizens, we expect our country's military to keep our borders safe, the police to keep internal security, the paramilitary also for internal security, and our election commission to keep a watch on this external influence if there was any in our elections. These are no longer allegations. When you have the most powerful person in the world, the American president, saying this, then we need to see this, because it's the financial wing of our intel service which must probe this. Follow the money. Follow the money trail. Let President Trump and Doge do their own thing in their country. We in our country should do our thing, and it's the onus upon the government in power to do it. In 2023, Rahul, Meta exposed that Chinese information operations were targeting India and the US and Tibet and everything. And there were sophisticated networks at work posing as journalists and activists. This was put out in 2023. But then 2024 elections happen, and in the Indian political scene, there were some articles which seemed a little odd at that time, some narratives which seemed a little odd, and there were people on social media as well as on traditional media who said, that it seems a little out of place, these sudden spurt of articles about falling human rights in India under Modi, low economic achievement, sliding democratic norms under the BJP. Suddenly, when there's a spate of articles within a couple of months, it makes you wonder. And then suddenly those articles stop. So, this is inauthentic behavior, and Meta put it out that, yes, there's a reason for this for this kind of inauthentic behavior, because these were suspicious, these were coordinated, and these were not, and the what I find odd is when these external agencies put out this information in 2023-24.
Let me add to the point
no
you're
action
making.
was taken, nothing was acted upon.
With
Why?
certain facts. Let me add to that with certain facts. You see, viewers, there's a group called the IFES. That was set up by the USAID, that receives funds from the USAID, also from George Soros's OSF. And guess what, viewers? In 2023 and in 2013, and between all that time, the IFES publishes paper on caste-based voter categorization. IFES publishes paper on Dalits in Indian elections and how they are sort of, disenfranchised. And guess who picks all this up, viewers? The Congress party did so. Now, we don't know any of this research, whether it was true or not, but someone put the seed and someone then reaped the whirlwind. And viewers, let me also tell you that the OCCRP is a whole bunch of so-called journalists who came up with Pegasus, who came up with this whole conundrum about what Adani was doing and not doing and so on and so forth. And guess who funds them? Soros. Viewers, I'm not saying any of this. This is Donald Trump putting it out and his Doge department. That's where we're getting all this information from. It's not as if, we have done some investigation. I'm just making it very clear. That's the funds flow. That's been put out by the American government. Please look at it. It's a very simple graphic. And Sanjay Jha, I just want to ask you, why would Trump be putting this out and calling the cards out and saying that there's been regime change or an attempt at regime change in India? Why would he be doing that?
Okay, I would definitely respond to your question, but I'm going to start by making a straightforward statement of request, which your viewers are listening to, is that I will take half the time that was taken by Mr. Bhatia and other people on this program, and I will nail it once and for all, provided you do not interrupt me. Point number one, I love the love for Donald Trump here. The same Donald Trump who just called Zelensky a dictator, who wants to convert Gaza into a French Riviera, and who believes Ukraine started the Russian-Ukraine war. That's one point. Now let's come to the issue at hand. I understand BJP is worried because the world is seeing that after the 56 in Chhati went to the White House, yet the illegal immigrants who went to the United States are returning in handcuffs and chains. How humiliating is that? How shameful is it that the big muscular hero could not really get respect for his own people? Point number three. The reference to the $21 million, Rahul Shivshankar, that you haven't told your viewers, refers to 2012, when the distinguished Chief Election Commissioner S.Y. Qureshi has already rubbished it. You can please put forth his comments on your program. But here is the point. Regime change, if at all it was happening, referred to the 2014 election. And I'll tell you why the Congress has asked for a white paper. Because Mr. Modi was always seen along with the BJP to be very market friendly. You see, you have always been critical, right? The Congress is anti-liberalization, anti-reforms. Mr. Modi's government was supposed to be very pro-reforms, liberalization, privatization. So the regime change, if at all, referred to 2014. And I demand through your channel that an investigation is done. In fact, I want to ask. That if this was indeed the case, then why was this press
Can I respond to him?
In June 2023? Bhatia ji, jara mujhe bolne dijiye. The Union Cabinet chaired by Prime Minister Modi today signed an MOU between India and USAID. Why did you trust the vast Indian Railways network with an agency that was trying to subvert Indian democracy? Another point, kindly answer that. In the 2014 elections, India roughly spent $5 to $8 billion. That's around 40,000 crores, around that number. $21 million for voter turnout when you are spending 40,000 crores basically in black money. That's how Indian elections are run. Here is the question.
Right.
$21 million. And by the way, if the voter turnout is
What's the
higher,
question?
if the voter turnout is higher, it normally helps the BJP. So then I would definitely believe this is a regime change issue. Right. My last point is here very relevant. And this, by the way, you should be worried about that.
Right.
Since USAID is a very disruptive agency, Rahul Shivshankar, here is a quote. Reliance Foundation has been working with USAID towards bridging the gender digital divide in India, signed by Neeta Ambani, who I think owns your channel. I think there are serious problems that the BJP needs to answer.
Okay.
I'm coming to the conclusion that
so let's get to it. Let's get to it. He says he's going to nail it, viewers.
Government
Mr. Jha said,
ambassador for USAID.
Okay, Mr. Jha said he's going to nail it out of the park. Now, let's go one by one. He made 5 points, and I just want to very quickly sum them up. Viewers, he said that why should we listen to Trump? Why are we hero-worshipping a man who called Zelensky a dictator? Rahul Gandhi met Ilhan Omar, viewers. Ilhan Omar, who called Trump a dictator. Why? Why, viewers? Did Trump not hold an election? Did he not win a mandate? After coming to power, which election has Zelensky held? So, viewers, where's Rahul Gandhi coming out and saying to Ilhan Omar, I met you, but I refuse to underline your accusations against a man who has been elected by a huge and vast majority of Americans. Why did you call him a dictator? Point one, viewers. Then he says, oh, this man wants to turn Gaza into a French Riviera. Why not, viewers? Don't Gazans have a right to live in a nice place? Or should they live in bombed out shelters, quivering amongst Hamas, 25 feet under the ground? What is wrong, viewers, if someone dreams big for somebody else?
Unbelievable.
Okay, third, viewers, third. He talks about 21 million. Can he link the 21 million to what he is saying? He says that that 21 million was linked to the money that was given to the election commission. It doesn't, viewers, there's no reference to that. It's a separate category. So he's misinforming you. Then he says, viewers, why is the government signing a deal with USAID? Government to government deals happen with agencies that are part of the US State Department, etc., viewers. They are monitored by the CNAG. Those reports are produced as to where that money goes. So I don't think he even has a basic understanding of how government functions. Fifth, viewers, most importantly, he says that usually, listen to him, this is a top-ranking political analyst on News TV, top ranking. And you know what he says? Usually when it's a higher voter turnout, it benefits the BJP. In Delhi, viewers, the voter turnout actually crashed to a 15-year low. And who won the election? My God. I mean, where do these guys get their research from? I know I'll be your researcher next.
Rahul,
I will do your research for you, Mr. Jha.
entertaining.
I'll do it for you every time you go out on debates. You shouldn't trust yourself with your research. I hope your book does justice,
Can you make a
because I just hope you have enough footnotes there. 1 second. Let me just open this up. Dr. Ranganathan. Dr. Ranganathan, 5 points he made. All 5 have fallen flat on the test of facts. And Mr. Bhatia, I'll bring you in right after. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan.
Your viewers know the truth.
Oh, of course they do. Yes.
And Ranganathan, anyway, is a right-winger hunk.
Oh, gosh.
Who basically needs sort of a digital
Let's get on with it, sir. Let's get on with it. Yeah. Go ahead, Doctor.
I don't want to reply to this.
Yeah, don't. Spare yourselves the agony. Yeah.
Talking sense to him is as useful as, giving a comb to a bald guy. So let's leave it at that. I want to discuss the topic at hand. Look, the issue is not that USAID was funding Americans to seed or expand American interests. You can say that's legit. The issue is not even that USAID was funding Indians to expand American interests. You can say that's legit lobbying. The issue is that USAID was funding Indians to undermine Indian interests. And that is an issue that should be investigated for any illegality that may have transpired. But, in the limited time I have, I really like to focus on the other point, if I may. I'm talking about foreign interference in Indian elections. To be honest, Rahul, there is a thin line between genuine concern and scaremongering, being the victim and playing it. And everyone's a hypocrite when it comes to exploiting this foreign hand theory. If you're scared of foreign hand, you are scared to use your hand. The biggest interference in election happens through media. Billions of dollars are handed out to the Indian media by Indian and foreign companies in the form of ads, also pushed by Indian and foreign governments. Like in the case of China, that directly funds multiple Indian media outlets, sometimes brazenly. In the 1980s, you remember a newspaper editor ratted to the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi the name of the Bofors Swedish whistleblower. Was that not interference? In 2019, the same editor cropped out a signature of our defense minister to peddle the fake narrative that Modi had indulged in Rafale scam. Yep. Was that not interference? What did the government do? Nothing. India denies visa to a commie American activist, but grants it to a commie American editor who peddles vicious anti-India propaganda through his commie tag every single day. And have you forgotten NewsClick? Shamelessly following Beijing's orders on Arunachal, COVID, Galwan. Isn't misinformation, disinformation, peddling fake narratives, tricking the Indian voter, interfering in Indian elections? Yes, but then you can never stop it because every single politician and every single political party takes money to spend it to do this. Rahul, just 30 seconds. You asked a question, very important one. If an organization gives money to a political party, does it expect some leverage in return? And you answered it yourself with a yes, which is true. But Rahul, the biggest election interference in Indian history was perpetrated by this government itself with full support and partaking of the opposition. The anonymous electoral bonds and the amendment of the FCRA Act that allowed foreign companies to give billions, tens of billions to Indian political parties anonymously. This was the biggest betrayal of the Indian voter, and no party has returned the money to these companies. And it was not a foreign hand that did it. It was an Indian hand, and it was way more dangerous because it was done in secret. Unlike a spurious paid for newspaper report or ad that you can read and rebut, the governments want transparency on who got USAID money, but wanted to keep opaque as to who gave political parties billions of dollars to electoral bonds. That is the problem, and nobody is prepared to answer that question.
Okay, very good. Viewers, electoral bonds were struck down much before the election, the Lok Sabha election. Supreme Court said it was a very erroneous scheme. What exists now? Can anyone answer that question? What exists now?
Rahul, if you give me a chance.
What exists now?
Elections are financed.
What exists now, viewers? A big, massive black hole exists now. Who has committed the fraud then on the Indian electorate? I would say, viewers, a particular organization that stood in judgment of the ECBs and all of those who lobbied against the ECB. I'm not a defender of the ECB. All the court had to do was to say, hang on, we'll keep this. At least it tells us where the money comes from, with the proviso that it should be made transparent. So, Dr. Ranganathan, your concern is obviously extremely heartfelt, and it's, your heart is in the right place as usual. But unfortunately, the question that you fail to answer is that we've reverted back to a system which is even worse than the ECB system. And guess what, viewers? Not the Congress, not this great ecosystem that went to court against the ECB is actually today saying that we need a better system. They're all trapped up. They're all quiet.
Rubbish.
No one is talking anymore, viewers, about the black hole that stares us in the face.
News alert.
Where?
Fake
Who has
news
gone
alert,
to court to
ladies
say
and
that we want a better system? No one, viewers.
Fake news alert.
All right, tell me. Anyhow, you know, don't talk nonsense. Anyhow, Mr. Bhatia, yes, a quick rebuttal you wanted, and then we'll move on, viewers.
Yes. So Rahul, first of all, I was expecting some cogent answers from the Congress sympathizer, my friend Sanjay Jha. Got none. And you know, the only bogey that he raised was that why are we listening to Donald Trump? And he very conveniently forgets he happens to be the president of the US. And he's flagging an issue which is very vital to our democracy. I have asked some tough questions on the MOU with China, Zakir Naik donating to the Congress party. Mr. Sanjay Jha doesn't answer. But I must say this, very recently we had also raised the issue of Gaurav Gogoi's wife. Rahul, can you maintain some decorum in the debate?
We should just learn to talk around him.
Why is he interrupting me? Is he scared?
Because you're lying.
Is he scared? Is he jittery, nervous? No, you can speak. You can tell the viewers I'm lying when your turn comes.
Of interrupting Mr. Kidwai.
It's okay. Dr. Ranganathan, I mean, double speak, you know, and you know what? You should give up.
Rahul, I'm not used to having such a discussion.
Yes, Mr. Bhatia, go ahead.
I was patiently waiting for my turn.
Yes.
I jotted down some points.
Yeah.
I wish to make my points. Yes.
Yeah.
So, very recently, there was another concern. You know, there are foreign forces which want to destabilize us. We can understand.
Yeah.
बट आप गैरों की बात करते हैं, हमने अपने भी आजमाए हैं. लोग कांटों से बच के चलते हैं, हमने फूलों से जख्म खाए हैं. कौन है ये लोग जो टर्माइट की तरह इंडिया को खा रहे हैं? Now I will give you two examples after Rahul Gandhi's example. One, Gaurav Gogoi's wife, Elizabeth Colburn. She has very close links with the ISI. She has worked with one Mr. Qureshi. I asked the Congress party, I raised that question on behalf of the BJP. Can Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi or Kharge ji come out and deny these relations? But they did not answer. Second, I want to ask, Sonia Gandhi was the co-chairperson of FDL-AP. Now this was a body which said that Kashmir should be autonomous.
Yeah.
Kashmir is independent. And Sonia Gandhi was the co-chairperson.
Right.
I have a grievance with that because she has been the UPA chairperson. She is a member of parliament. She is answerable to the people of India.
Okay.
But they don't answer.
Quick
and
rejoinder.
my last thing that I want to say, when we take action, my last point, Rahul, my last point,
yes.
when we take action against You know, PFI Bank, they say freedom of speech, democracy in danger. When we take action against NewsClick and Amnesty International, they say freedom of speech has been jeopardized.
Okay, quick
and
response.
last but not the
Sanjay
least,
Jha, I just
we
want to make one
cancelled
point
the
here, viewers.
FCRA licenses of various NGOs,
Okay.
and Rahul Gandhi
I just
was
want to make one
standing
small
with these
point.
NGOs against the country.
One gets it. I just want to make one small point. Elizabeth Coburn is not here. Elizabeth Gogoi is not here to defend her name. So we should keep that off. I can't.
No, Gaurav Gogoi is.
No, 1 second.
He happens to be the deputy leader of the opposition.
She answers
Greater
for
the
herself.
responsibility.
We live
No,
in a
Rahul, I
democracy.
don't agree with you.
No, 1 second.
I don't agree with you.
Me. She's not
Gaurav
here.
Gogoi happens to
She
be
is
the
not here
deputy
to
leader
defend
of
her name,
opposition.
and she has
he's
a right to
answerable
defend
to the
herself.
people.
Okay, fair enough, sir. I mean, I'm not denying your point.
I agree.
But
I
I'm just
agree,
saying,
but Gaurav
she is not
Gogoi
here.
has to answer.
Yeah, that might be so. That might be
Yeah,
your
that's
point. I'm
fine.
just
I
putting it
respect
out
that.
there because, you know,
respect that.
there are legal consequences to everything that is said on open panels such as this. So I just
No,
want to
no,
make
there
it
are
clear.
no legal
Yes,
consequences.
Mr. Jha,
Can I
quick
give a
response.
reminder?
Quick response, and I want to move on. Yeah.
What is the
My
relation of
rejoinder
his wife
to the
with
entire
the
conversation
ISI?
this
There are no
evening.
legal implications
Okay,
of that.
okay,
As a
okay.
lawyer,
My
I tell you
rejoinder
now.
to
Okay,
the
quick
entire
answer.
Conversation today evening for the viewers of your program is,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, the BJP says all of it. In the last 4 years, the government has taken $650 million in USAID money.
Yeah.
Number two, Smriti Irani was the brand ambassador for USAID.
No, that's not correct, actually.
Hang on. Neither is Smriti Irani
That's
here.
not- that's
you can't
not
make
correct.
personal
Lies.
attacks and get away.
Complete
Hang on.
lies.
I'm shutting
It's a
this
fact.
down. No,
It's a
viewers,
fact.
we're not. I'm going to use the same yardstick. And secondly, viewers, listen.
No, you give me the source.
There is,
I challenge
no,
Mr.
forget it, Mr.
Sanjay Jha to
Bhatia. This
display
is an
the source.
extraneous point
Please
being made
disclose
to
the
muddy the
source.
waters. The fact is, viewers, that a sovereign country's
Yes.
sovereign head of state has come out and accused a certain group from his own country of bribing Indian fifth columnists to create a narrative to poison the minds of the electorate. And that, viewers, is a serious issue. It's a serious issue that needs to be investigated. One hopes that the government will come out with the details. They've already begun to sort of put out details into the media about how this money came through, etc., etc. But you can't dismiss what Trump has said. You can't dismiss the fact that it vindicates Mr. Modi. You can't dismiss the probability of foreign influence that subverted our electoral process to the point where a government lost a majority and thereby independent decision-making prowess, which could have actually made a huge difference to the life chances of 1.4 billion Indians. This is very serious, viewers. It's very serious. We need to move on. Viewers, in the life